Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with veteran California-based jazz guitarist George Gilliam. We caught up with him about his latest 2021 CD, Many Roads Home, A Long Good Life in Jazz, COVID-19, and more. It all began for him in Gary, Indiana at 13 when he picked up the guitar. He later moved to Chicago with his family and formed his own groups. From there, he went on to Xavier University in New Orleans and had the time of his life. He would eventually head to his current home of California to pursue his true love of jazz. Listen to his story. It's a great one. Thank you for taking a minute out to talk about the music and to talk about your life in music. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
I've been really enjoying your album. You've been you're going from Michael Jackson's Human Nature, Bob Dylan, and all over the place. It sounds like you had a really good time making this album.
I did, and that's why we chose the title Many Roads, because it was like a coming home, and it was like going through all of the different time periods, actually, almost of my life. Really thinking about just what are the impacts can we make, in terms of making a statement of the music and being eclectic about it.
Did you have any reservations about releasing it during this time when we're in a pandemic and a very strange time on Earth?
Well, yeah, I did. I did have mixed emotions about it, because I thought it might be. I remember might be too eclectic, too many different directions on it. But I thought that it was a personal enough for me that I'm going to go and release this and let it and see what the public thinks. Let them work it out. I think that was a better way to go. And because I love making the album, and we had a lot of fun with all of the different things that we tried on it. We tried a lot of different new things that we hadn't tried before.
The one thing I love about getting albums is I always like to drive and listen to it. I still have a CD player, which can be a strange thing to a lot of the younger people, but I pop that in and I go. And this has been a really chill, good, relaxing album to watch the world go by. So my question to you is, what do you want the listener that downloads or buys this album to ultimately feel from this experience?
Well, I'd like for them to take a minute to sit back and reflect on different things, and to like you say, reflect on the world with those situations, and to be able to maybe see a little bit more positive things down the road. That it doesn't always, necessarily. And that's why I ended with "Here's to Life." That things are good. We're going to get through a lot of things, and this is just one way of doing it, through music. So that was part of what I would like for people to get out of it.
So speaking of that musical road, your road began in Gary, Indiana, at the age of 13. Talk to me a little bit about that period in your life, and even before, how music and more specifically jazz hooked you in.
And when I was living in Gary, so yeah, I was 13, but that's when I started playing, and I was also playing clarinet at the time in the band in junior high and stuff like that. What happened then? I heard a guitar and I just loved it, and I just wanted to learn how to play it. I heard, I used to listen to a lot of Kenny Burrell, a lot of other stuff, Freddie King, all of them, it was like a thing in Gary. A lot of people played different instruments. It was just a wonderful time. I did talent shows. I worked with this one guy, Wilton Crump, and the Melatones. We did a few things. We got in a bunch of talent shows. We competed against the Jackson 5 and everybody else. And, of course we came in second, but it was something that everybody always looked forward to doing every year with talent shows and things like that. You prepared all year for it almost, and then you would go and present your particular songs or whatever you did, and it was just a real fun thing to do at the time. And then from there, I moved to Chicago.
Well, and that was what I was going to get to. Being in the Midwest, I have a pretty good idea of the geography and where things are and how people can migrate. And Chicago is such a wonderful town. Talk to me a little bit about that part of your life.
Oh, well, Chicago, moved there, and then I started a group. Me and a couple of friends that Hassan Khan, and Donnie Hagen, and we had a little trio that we used to play in high school when I was finishing up high school, and they eventually had Shaka come and play with us, and when she was first starting out, she did a couple of gigs with us at the time. Chicago was really where I really started the jazz. The jazz influence really got heavy. I worked with a guy named Jimmy Ellis, who Morris Ellis Big Band, and Jimmy Ellis was was a saxophonist that I took lessons from, and was really inspirational, as well as my dad was inspirational in a lot of things with the jazz concept. And I just would go down and listen to Sonny Stitt at the Grass Hut sometimes, and it was like, it was just so much alive listening to Don Patterson, it was just I would go see Wes Montgomery, at the Plug Nickel early on, and it was it was exciting. It was just fun.
And then from there, you go to New Orleans and you get involved in that scene. So that had to be a real baptismal in jazz. I mean, that's the cradle right there.
Oh, New Orleans was, they call it the Big Easy, but New Orleans is so accepting of musicians. And I'll tell you, I had the best time of my life in New Orleans. I met so many great musicians, worked with so many great musicians at the time. Like I say, at that time, we did our Sunday morning special morning show with Charles Carrard at the time in '77, and that's when I met Wynton Marsalis. Would come up with in high school. He was coming over and playing with the big band with us, and it was just amazing. And then I started working with this guy James Rivers down there, and we did just travel with him for a while. And we played on weekends. Ellis Marsalis would play on the Mondays and Tuesdays, and it was just, it was just a fantastic time. Emily Rimler, Bobby McFerrin, everybody seemed to be down there at the time, and it was just a wonderful place to be. It was just an explosion of music for me, and I loved it. I wouldn't trade that time for anything in the world. New Orleans was just like one of the most. It's just a place to explore music in so many ways, and people just love just love music so much down there. It was like, oh, this is the place. Like you say, the cradle. It was so much happening.
So, what lured you to California?
Moved to California. I was getting out of New Orleans, and I said, okay, well, it's time for me to move on. So I thought I would move to California and start here. And try to get into the music business from here. Then I ended up going back to school as well. Whereas I went back to school at Cal State Long Beach for music therapy. And then I got music therapy. Then I started a day program, which I still run today, where we use music therapy and art therapies to work with people with intellectual disabilities. And, it gave me a sense of, in other words, I appreciated being in music so much, but I also needed to find a way to give back for a lot of the things that had come my way. So this was my way of getting back into the community and doing more. So I really, California was another kind of milestone that helped me to find my way in a positive way of how to use music to help people.
Yeah, my son is 16, and he has a long arm on his 15th chromosome. He's technically, educationally wise, he's on the autism spectrum. So I know how much both music and art has been really good to open the world up to him in very defined and therapeutic ways, for sure.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, I work with some that are prodigious savants, and we've done some remarkable things with different students that have been able to do so much. I have one kid I worked with a while back. He was really young, and there was a guy, Cody Lee, and he ended up winning America's Got Talent, autism. So it's just the music, just all of it just seemed to work in a way that I was able to use it in a plethora of ways. So I'm just really thankful for that.
So over the years, you played with a lot of heavy hitters in the world of jazz. What did that teach you? Now that you are doing what you're doing with your job and with being a musician and an educator, how has all of that helped you inspire those around you?
It's taught me patience. It's taught me to be able to see, to allow talent to grow within, on its own, and not try to push it in a way that you think it should go, but allow it to grow in its own way. So sometimes you get people that are so good, you have to allow them the space to be creative, but also guiding them in a way that helps them to help to define or to nurture or develop even more. So you're trying to give them the parameters in a way that they can find it on their own to develop even more positively in music and everything else. I will say this, though, for people that love to play music or that love jazz or love playing whatever instrument they have, like for me, the guitar, you get to a point that it's not always about fame, fortune, or a lot of other things as much as the instrument itself becomes such a predominant force in your life that you either love it so much you just love every day that you get a chance to play it. And that's really one thing I can definitely pass on. And it's not about a lot of things. So when you start playing an instrument, you need to love it enough to know that no matter what, it will be there for you, and it will be there. It will help you get through things that you wouldn't believe. And it's just a pleasure whenever you can sit down and play the songs the way you want to, and always learning new things no matter what age you get to. You're learning so much all the time that it's just endless. So, and then you see so many new people coming out with so many new kind of things. You say, wow. And you just listen to them, you say, wow, music is amazing. So I'm thankful for it. I thank God for it.
So let's go back to Gary or before, and I want to know, what was the first live show that you ever saw that made you think, man, that's what I want to do?
Well, when I went to go see Wes Montgomery at the Plug Nickel at 13, and they used to have matinees for kids, and I had a friend of mine that took me over there, took me to Chicago to see him. And just to watch him play was like, wow, that's what I want to do. The other thing was, like, when we would go, then I would get trips to go to the Regal and see live shows. So we would see the Motown Review, Brian Telebass, all of that. And we watched the Red Founder's big band, and you would watch the guitar players and everybody on there, and Freddie King, I think, and B.B. King. Those were some real strong influences. So when I saw them at the Regal, I was like, wow, that's what I want to do. That's really what I want to do.
So you've pretty much defined the best thing of being a musician, one of the best things, and why you love being a musician. But I want to know, why do you love jazz?
One, it's the freest music in the world, in the sense that you're constantly creating on the spot. You have to be able, it allows you the freedom to take chances and to do things mostly, not restricted. You're constantly making melodies up as you go along, and that's the whole point of the improvisation. But it's that freedom that you feel, that you don't have to be so controlled by the events around you as much as you are able to control the events, and to also push the envelope on new events and push it forward.
What do you miss the most about that old world back in March of last year that we left behind? What do you want to get back to?
Just back to playing again, and being out and playing out in front of people. I think that's, the exchange of the audience is really a positive thing. And, I was working in a restaurant up in L.A. called Akasha's for a while, and I had been working about 10 years really. But it was just playing and just being out there playing and playing with different people. That's been the joy. And I want to get back to that.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see you cats get up there and do it. So what do you hope we all realize when we do turn about this absence of live music? Silver linings for both audience and musician.
I think we're all going to appreciate it a lot more. We're all going to appreciate the sense of being together and appreciating. We're all going to learn to appreciate each other more. And the music is going to be one thing that's going to help us in terms of that. But I think we're going to be more appreciative of everybody being able to be together and seeing each other and understanding there's more to life than just the petty things that people keep. Petty things that sometimes happen in life. The life that is bigger things in this world, and it's more important that we learn how to be able to get along and be with each other and do more positive things with each other and build a more positive future for our children and for ourselves.
Everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, students, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
Well, I think I'm a decent person that's trying to do the best I can with other circumstances that are presented by trying to help others as well as myself, but also giving myself to others that can't do for themselves is an important part. So I found that if I can do that, then I'm living my life to the best I can, because I need to be able to help somebody as well as I be helped by others.
Beautiful, man. Hey, thank you for taking some time out to talk with Neon Jazz today. This has been wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for playing some of the songs off the album. I appreciate that, and just enjoy, and just much love to everybody out there. We're going to get through all of this, and please, everybody, just believe that, and we're going to be there. Once we get back together, let's try to show each other much more appreciation for each other.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in California, Indiana, Chicago, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to George for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.